Hello, Professor
Hello.
Sim. How are you?
I'm very well. So nice to see you.
Very nice to see you too. I'm just going to turn my volume up a bit because our friends on Facebook and YouTube obviously can't see you, but they will be able to hear all
Okay.
your pearls of wisdom. Where are you speaking to us from? Are you in
I'm in
London?
I'm in London. I'm actually at home because my 11-year-old is unwell. I was meant to be in the
Oh,
office, but oh well, she'll be fine. She'll live.
good, good. I hope so. It's always tricky, isn't it? I had my 11-year-old out here for half term, and yeah, it's always that panic, isn't it, when they start to dip downhill. Can you turn your volume up anymore? Are you on max? I've turned mine up on max.
Can
Just
you
to
hear me now?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I just need to put my microphone in properly. Is that better? I'll speak up
Yeah,
actually.
it's
Yeah.
great. It's great. Thank you very much. So let's start by talking a little bit about your background because I know you from your work at UCL and also at Moorfields. What exactly is your background? How did you become a professor of ophthalmology? Is that right?
Yes, OPHTH.
Okay.
So I'm from Singapore originally, so I grew up in the tropics. I came to London eight, age 18 for university, and I've been here 27 years. So I think you do the math, and uh, I think I kind of fell into it. I ruled out everything else. I wanted to be a vascular surgeon. I wanted to be in a jungle, putting an anesthetic block and chopping off a leg if I had to, but didn't quite fit
Wow.
in with my lifestyle choices of not liking um, the lack of plumbing.
Yeah,
And
I'm with you on that one. Very
and
important, plumbing.
I fell into eyes because I love small things. I love surgery. I love doing things with my hands. It's like I think dentists are very similar. You create and you mold something, and so that's kind of where I am now.
And Moorfields, of course, has a global reputation, doesn't it, as a real centre of excellence for eye care.
It's
And
isn't
the work there is remarkable. I mean, it must be extraordinary. You're literally making blind people see again and more. And it's so cutting edge that the technology that goes on. I know Professor Stevens, who's at Moorfields, and all his laser work is extraordinary.
very pioneering. I think what's great about the place is the diversity of people that are there. You
Mm.
cannot find a language practically that someone doesn't speak there. And we have people coming from all around the world to train there. So I have friends from around the globe just for that very reason, to be honest,
Mm.
it's
And what
special.
kind of things do you see in your practice? What are the kind of, what's your daily schedule like in terms of fixing people with eye issues?
I see a lot of cataract, macular degeneration is a huge thing.
Yeah.
Diabetes big in this country as well. Shockingly so, because you would think more, East Asia, etc. Dry eye is a huge problem, and just mostly people just not understanding what happens to your eyes as you get older, which is something that
Mm.
in my middle age I've encountered fairly recently, so I identify with
Yeah,
patients that
yeah,
I
no,
know.
same, absolutely. Coming back to that question about diabetes, I think people perhaps might not associate diabetes, type 2 diabetes, particularly with eye problems. What happens? Why do the eyes deteriorate so badly, and why can diabetes cause blindness?
Oh, this is so important. So diabetes is a huge thing. It runs in my family. Half of my
Mm.
family are diabetic. I'm just waiting for it to happen to me. But diabetes can be devastating to the eye, and it's a silent killer. So by the time you notice something, it's too late. You need to see somebody
Really?
once a year. And the reason for that is high sugar levels in the blood kills the cells that line the blood vessels in the eye. And it's like having a hose, without the inner lining. Everything just leaks out, it dies, it bursts, and you just can't grow these blood vessels back. So
Right.
it's a huge problem. I think in the UK we are more advanced than anyone else because we have a
Hmm.
screening program, so you can have a free eye check once a year if you have diabetes
And you
and
can
you're.
pick it up then, can you? Pick up the signs?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, just with a quick photograph of the back of the eye.
And is that something that an optician could do?
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
But
really
it's
important.
offered to everybody above age 12 for free. So it's
Really,
mm.
yeah. And then cataracts. I mean, this is something that we also hear about as we age. What exactly is a cataract, and why do we need replacements?
So we all have a lens in the eye. You think of a lens as, what you see on a camera, but that's not so. The lens in our eye is kind of a ball of gloop. And that gloop, as you get older, and the gloop is clear and focuses for us because it has proteins in the eyes that are arranged in a parallel fashion. And as you get older, they kind of start to disrupt and it becomes cloudy. And it happens to all of us from age, 50, 60 onwards. And you tend to have surgery if you don't live in high UV. Well, you're in a high UV area, so I'd be careful. If you have, yeah, but in London, you don't have high UV apart from 2, 3 weeks a year. So you tend to get cataracts in your 70s and 80s. But in Australia, for example, you tend to get it in your 50s and 60s. So everyone gets it. It's one of those things.
Really, just with age. And so you talk about the lens going kind of cloudy, milky. Is that a sign then that if we start to get sort of blurry, fuzzy vision, would that be an indication potentially of
Yeah,
cataracts?
yeah, definitely blurry, fuzzy, glare. So if you drive at night and you find that you're getting glare, that's the first sign. And cataract surgery is a great thing. It's so simple to do, very rewarding. And you have an opportunity to almost, it's like plastic surgery, but without the caveats to plastic surgery. It's like you get to say, oh, I want to see clear in the distance, or I want to see clear in the near. Or if you want glasses your whole life, you could get rid of it. So I don't think it's a bad thing.
So they are literally replacement lenses. Do you operate on the eye, you take out the cloudy lens and you put a new one in?
Yep, you suck it out. You use ultrasound to break it up. Love to show you a video, but I've learned, through the years, nobody wants to watch them. And,
I'm sure we can find them on YouTube if we want to see a sucking out of a cataract.
Yeah, you put a plastic lens in the eye that lasts forever, and
Really?
you have a bag in the eye that holds that lens as well, that supports that forever. The one caveat is that, as I approached my 40s, I found I could not read my phone. And I found that at dinner parties with my colleagues and my friends, we're about the same age, and I'm very clever in choosing friends that are older than me, so I know what to expect. And everyone does this, at the menu. And it's the focusing power. And so yesterday, actually, I was out with a couple of friends who are about a decade older than me, and they said, "Why on earth are you doing this, you amateur? Do this." I'm like, "Oh, it's much more simple."
So
but I look
looking
like
down?
No, just because I'm short-sighted without my glasses, I'm able to focus.
Okay, all right. So Dawn is taking off her glasses to look down. What do you think about laser eye surgery? I mean, I've had laser eye correction, and I thought it was fantastic. And I know that it's been around now for quite a long time. I mean, is it something that's considered safe and recommended?
I think laser eye surgery is amazing. It's what we're talking about here is losing your ability to focus. And remember, we talked about the cataract. So you put a lens in the eye, that plastic lens in that bag. But what that removes is the ability of your lens to focus. And yes, there are multifocal lenses, etc. But up to the age of about 40 plus, those focusing muscles stiffen and you're just not able to move the lens anymore. And if you have surgery too early, you lose that too early. But post 45, 50, you've lost a lot of that power already. And so cataract surgery will be okay. Laser eye surgery is very safe now. It's been done for many, many years now. But what it doesn't give you is that multi-stage focus. Makes you really clear for distance, but near is not as good.
Yeah. And so why do we become more long-sighted? I mean, people often say, there's nothing wrong with my vision. It's just that my arms aren't long enough. I need to start moving things further and further away. Well, what happens then as we age to the eyeball that means that our vision shifts? I mean, for those people who've been short-sighted perhaps for all their lives, they suddenly find that things are a bit better because they get more long-sighted.
Yes, well, you have a little muscle in your eye that squeezes the lens. It goes
Okay.
like this. And when it contracts as you bring something closer, when you were a child, you could read something this close, isn't it? And how many
Yeah,
of us have
really close.
yelled at our kids going, not so close to your eyes, the
Yeah,
eye.
not so close because it's right up here. Yeah.
Yeah, but now if I put something up here, I can barely see it because the muscles in my eye are stiff, and you can't squeeze your lens to bulge it up enough to focus the light with,
Right.
and you lose that. The muscle becomes stiff, and there's not very much you can do about that.
Mm. I mean, if it's a muscle, can we exercise it? I mean, we know we can work out on the muscles in our body. Can we do our eye exercises to help our sight?
I wish it was like quads, where you can do squats, but um,
Yes.
I
Squats for the
think
eyeballs.
I think you'll see a lot of fake news about eye exercises, and I really feel sad for the people who do them because they don't work.
They
I
don't
think what
work. Okay, you got it from the expert here. Eye exercises, forget it. Just focus on your squats instead. That's a shame. And
you know,
I'm
I,
because
I think
I'm
what
looking at. Go on. No, you go.
no no, but what can work is taking care of the general health that
Yeah.
evidence has shown to delay the impact of presbyopia, which is what we're talking about. So,
What
you
is
know,
presbyopia? Sorry, I missed that.
presbyopia.
Mm.
Presbyopia is just the inability as you get older to focus on near, and that happens to everyone. And a good diet, ensuring you rest your eyes, etc., etc. That really is
Mm.
is the key. And looking at funny things on a computer or going this, it doesn't work.
No,
Yeah.
no. I mean, and of course, we're all spending so much time, even more than ever, on screens. Couple of questions. I'm seeing a lot of chat on Instagram at the moment about floaters. What are floaters, and what are they doing? Are these the little fuzzy things that we see sometimes in our eyes floating about?
You should give them names. I have Earl
Sorry,
and
fuzzy things. Not very technical.
so I don't know. I never know an audience. I can nerd it out as much as you like,
We
or I
love a
can
bit of
give it.
nerding. Yeah, go for it.
So I think it's important to know what floaters are, and within they're super cool. I love eyeballs. But we won't go into that.
Eyeballs.
But but within our eyeball, it's filled with a jelly and fluid, and we're born with that. And as a baby, that jelly is viscous and thick and very transparent. And again, we are all made of protein. And those
Mm-hmm.
protein fibers are arranged in a parallel fashion, so they are clear and transparent. As you get older, that protein becomes more liquid and it breaks down and it precipitates. So you get these little fibrils floating around, and you see them. And when you look at a high contrast, so if you scuba dive or if you swim in the sea and there's a white blue, you will see them because of the high contrast. If you look at a white wall, you will see them. If you look at a clear blue
Yes.
sky, you will see them. If you fixate on them, you will see them more. But it's a very natural thing for everyone
Is
to
it?
have. The brain is very adaptable in ignoring things because we have two eyes. So one eye will say, oh, that's
Mm.
not there. And if you say to yourself, I'm looking past it, you won't see it anymore.
You won't see
It
it. Fascinating.
it can drive you crazy. I have people crying in my clinics, with their floaters, but it's about training yourself to say, I can look past this.
Look past them. Can we do anything to get rid of them physically?
You can, but it's quite a big operation. In some places, they do laser them, but it's not something we tend to do in the UK because the risks of causing problems are too high.
Yeah. Now, you've set up an amazing company, which I'm so fascinated to talk to you about. It's with some colleagues, isn't it? Some other ophthalmic super brain experts, specifically for eye health. And you've got two things in particular that really struck me. One was eye vitamins, and as everybody here knows, I'm seriously into my vitamins. Only the ones that are evidence-based and work, by the way, not just a general random multivitamin. And when I looked at these, I thought there's some things here that I've never heard of, which is fascinating in terms of eye health. So the first one I have heard of, and that's lutein, Lutein. Am I right in saying that that's some kind of carotenoid?
Yep. You know, using carrots, carotenoid pigment. Yep. Yellow
And so
stuff.
what does lutein do for our eyes, and why would we specifically need it as a vitamin?
So those two things tend to not be normal multivitamins. I'm a big vitamin taker as well. Big, you know, pro vitamin D. You know,
Totally.
I live in London. I have to
Yes.
take vitamin D or I will be depressed human being. But
Do you know, I was, sorry, just as an aside, I was doing a bit of research in the car this morning, and I was reading some research from a doctor who was saying that we all know about vitamin D, or at least we should do, certainly this community here hopefully does, but saying the importance of having magnesium with your vitamin D, because you need the magnesium to activate your vitamin D or to
what's
help
more
it work.
important? What's more
Yeah,
important
so a lot of
is
people are magnesium deficient and they're busy, taking their vitamin D, thinking that they're okay, but actually it's not able to be used properly because they haven't got enough magnesium, which I thought was fascinating.
exactly. And aside from that as well, it's moving laterally is vitamin K. So there's a competitive inhibition. K is really important. If you take too high a dose, I take really high dose vitamin D because I believe that it helps me. Um,
So what dose do you
but
take? I'm going to put you on the spot. How much are you taking? You tell me and I'll tell
I
you.
can't remember. I have to go downstairs and grab the box. To be honest, I have it on subscription, so it sends it to me in
So you're a big
autumn,
one.
and it
Yeah.
sends it to me. It stops at spring, so I don't even have to think about it. But I can't remember. Is
Yeah.
the high dose more expensive? Good one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah. So with the aside, uh, let's go back to carotenoids because
Yeah.
I'm really passionate about that. So lutein and zeaxanthin. They're really cool pigments. They're yellowy in color. Make them in our body, and you can eat them from dark green leafy vegetables. So I was joking with
Mm-hmm.
somebody else. I was talking about this. I love kale, love spinach. I have a very balanced diet,
Yeah.
but there's only that much kale I can eat. I would like to eat some
Oh,
fish and the
yeah.
occasional piece of meat as well.
Yeah.
Um, And what it does is when you eat it, your body transports it to the center of your eye. And that's controversial what it actually does. There's a lot of postulates, there's so many studies around the area, but it protects as an antioxidant, kind of a barrier to the active processes that happens at the back of the eye. So you're looking at me now. How are you making that picture? What cells are firing off? What, as it blasts off, what does it produce? What those free radicals doing to the rest of your eye? Much as the sun, as it damages your skin, what is my image and your computer image doing to your macula, which is the center bit of the eye that makes the picture? And it's lutein and zeaxanthin that concentrates there. So having enough of it in your diet is really important.
So zeaxanthin, so that's another carotenoid, is it? The lutein and the zeaxanthin. Because I also know a little bit about astaxanthin, which is a pink pigment, and that's again highly antioxidant. So these things are specifically helpful for the eyeball, and you talk about macular, the macular part of the eye, and I think macular degeneration is something that we hear a lot about. Are these supplements I need to get my name right now, the zeaxanthin and the lutein, are they specifically there to help prevent macular degeneration?
They are one of the only components to vitamins that have been in very expensive multinational clinical trials. And I remember I was there for the announcement. Again, nerd alert. It was like I was in a Rolling Stones concert, with all my mates going, "Oh my God, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna say? We need to talk about fish oils after this." And there was this tiny American Chinese lady that was in charge of this. It was I think tens, if not hundreds of millions. I can't remember US dollars. And it happened over 5-6 years over the country. And they found that these two pigments were protective for macular degeneration. And lots of money was spent because for so much of even my vitamin D stuff, the evidence is not great, you know, like you read a study, if it did it on 50 patients,
Yeah.
you think, but there's a lot of personal choice in this, but for these two
Mhm.
pigments, I would say there is very good evidence it helps
Really.
for aging. Yes. More
So
important as you get
at what
older.
stage, sorry, I was just going to say, at what stage in life should we be thinking about these supplements then?
I think it's if you have macular degeneration in your family, if you live in an area with high UV light,
Hmm.
uh, then you should be thinking of them sooner. So we all take multivitamins for several different things. I can think of, you know, three big ones for me. You know, my health, not getting ill, not getting COVID. Um, two, how my skin looks, which is
Yeah.
it's not worked so well. I need to watch more of your videos, Liz. And then my
You look
eyes, because
great.
my eyes are my job. You know, I need to see well, and
Of
yeah.
course. So would you say then, what, in our 30s? Is this something, or is this something that we should be giving our kids?
It doesn't harm them. I would say if you take a multivitamin, if you want something as an added extra, eyes or something that you are passionate about, it's definitely for you. I think in your 30s, 40s, it's really time to take stock. You know, I remember my
Sure.
20s in a haze. I don't think I took vitamins in my 20s.
No. Well, I mean, we were invincible, frankly, weren't we? I mean, nothing was going to get us when we were in our 20s.
I miss those days. Anyway, yeah.
I think you're pretty invincible by the sounds of it. So those are the first two ingredients that I'm looking at here. We've also got vitamin C. So clearly
Yeah.
we know that as another major antioxidant. Is there a specific link with eyes and vitamin C?
It was part of the formulation that was in that trial again. I think the boring vitamins, which I will gloss over, which we had to include because they're important, you know, the CE, the Bs. And we know so
Yeah.
much about them. We've all read so many articles about them, but they had to be included because they were important. You can talk about the minerals as well, so important. But you know, zinc, copper, da da da. Be
Yeah.
careful with zinc though, as a woman, as you get older. If you take too
Mm.
much zinc, it can predispose you to urinary tract infections. So just be
Interesting.
cautious of that. Make sure you hydrate. That's
Yeah.
one caveat, but zinc is important. But
Mm.
I think the Mackie berry thing is for me,
Yeah.
I'm most excited about.
Tell us about this. I mean, it's quite funny actually, because I was literally, and this was not planned at all, but I'm sitting here in the middle of Kenya with these two extraordinary berries, and I've forgotten the name of them already. Is this a wine berry? I think this might even be an Asian one. I don't know. And then this Kenyan blueberry, which is a bit like a kind of squash blackberry with pimples on it, a blueberry with pimples on it. Um, mm. But Mackie berry, I've never heard of. A Mackie berry is something that you put in the eye vitamins. So what is it and why is it so special? Why have I never heard of it?
So to digress from the Mackie berry thing, I like to talk about our tea a little bit because it's made up of uh, you know, three other chaps, and we had a big fight over what to include. And Mackie berry won in the end. It was unanimous. Um, if you look up Mackie berry, it's a Chilean berry, and you know, I heard you talk about purple pigments earlier.
Mm.
Why is it good to eat purple stuff? You know, I love aubergine, eggplant, blah blah, and curry.
Mm.
Why are blueberries good? You know, and
Yeah.
ackee, is it
Mm-hmm.
acai? No, acai. I'm so
I
bad
don't know
at
whether
saying
you say AC, Akai, Aki,
it. Yeah,
ACAI,
I think it's acai. I'm gonna go with
Akai.
acai.
Okay, I'll go
Yeah.
with that.
So Mackie berry is like, I would say acai is the prosecco, and Mackie berry is the champagne. You know, it depends on your poison, but it's it's
Ah,
very
so it's
high.
that level above.
Yeah, and the small studies that have been done in Mackie berry have been very beneficial for particularly dry eye and tear production. So it's not so much a pigment at the back of the eye, which we talked about with the lutein and zeaxanthin. This one's much more for the front of the eye. And there was a huge, you know, it's very hard to do these big studies with, because there's so many confounding factors. So if you look at somebody, for example, if you're approaching menopause and you have a hormonal imbalance, and if you know, everyone's genetically unique. And
Mm,
even if you take HRT, there's so many different HRTs with different
yeah.
components, and your hormone profile is not accounted for when you test these things. So it's almost a worthless exercise to test it. But even in healthy, normal people, Mackie berry was very promising. So I took it for a little while, and I don't know if it's psychosomatic. I felt I could see better.
Interesting. So I've never heard of it. I mean, people are saying, so it's not maca. We know about maca root and maca powder, but this is actually spelled differently. This is Maqui, Mackie berry.
Yeah,
so what does it look like? What does a Mackie berry look like if we were to come across one in Chile?
Like a very dark purple blueberry, I think. And apparently it's really yummy, but I've never eaten a real one. But I have Chilean
You need to go to Chile.
I was meant to go to Chile. I was invited, and then COVID happened.
Well, you and me both. I'm fascinated to go on the trail of the Mackie berry. And then you've also got in here the important B vitamins, the B6 and the B12. So is the idea that you're taking this really alongside whatever else you might be taking? I mean, a lot of my followers here are probably already on HRT. They may well be taking adaptogenic herbs or ashwagandha or vitamin D or whatever. But is this designed to go alongside specifically to think about our eyes as we age?
Yes, I think so. And I think, there are so many multivitamins on the market. I would never just take a plain multivitamin because I eat really well. I have a balanced diet. Although I'm now on the 1 meal a day thing because I'm not hungry at dinner time. So I prep the girls' meals. I have 3 daughters. I make them the beige food that they love, and then they eat blueberries, so it's fine. So, chicken nuggets, chips and beans. Terrible. I said, you're not even Chinese. You should be eating rice and vegetables. They're like, no, Mama, we want nuggets. And
I balance it out with a handful of blueberries.
But I can't be bothered to make a meal for myself, and I actually eat my main meal at lunch. It's fairly balanced, but the multivitamin.
Well, you're intermittent fasting then, aren't you? Really, which is
like
a very healthy way of doing it.
I think so, but not on purpose. So if I'm doing surgery in the mornings, I drink like 5 cups of coffee in the morning, and that's my weakness. I can't help myself. It doesn't touch me.
Someone was asking me what I was drinking. It's Kenyan coffee.
I force myself to eat something because I don't want to, not be at my top form. So I will eat something like a piece of toast or a boiled egg or whatever the kids have spat out as after their breakfast.
Oh, you sound like a great mum. Now, so you've launched, so MTHK, we do have a Liz Loves discount. So thank you very much. With everything that we talk about here, we do try and bring you that little bit extra. So if anybody wants to go and try it. So MTHK, this is the vitamins for healthy eyes. So check that out if you are interested. And it has all the interesting information about the studies and the trials as well. But more than that, and something that I know we've had a lot of questions about, is dry eyes, particularly as we age. And we can talk about hormones and estrogen and how that can also help with dry eyes. But you've got this amazing eye spray, which I would normally be concerned about spraying something around my eyes. But I'm not concerned because it's coming from you and your pals at Moorfields and UCL.
Okay. Before you start,
yes.
May I challenge you? Are you ready to do a live spray?
I am ready to do a live spray.
Okay, before you do that, make sure you hold it, just yay distance. Close your eye, a bit closer.
Close my eyes.
Pointing
so I'm not
at you.
Spray it into okay. Is it going to make my mascara
Well, make sure it's no. So, but maybe it does, and I will be like ashamed. But what I need you to do is to prime it first. Prime it. Okay. Point it away. Spray it at someone. Right. Okay. Oh yeah.
Very, very fine.
Oh, okay.
Very fine.
Hold it, kind of yay distance, and just close your eyes. Though. Close your eyes, and then spray. Yeah, 2 sprays. 1, 2, 1.
Is that it?
Blink. Blink. I think you're a bit far away. But Yeah, do you remember the Evian mist things? I used to buy
Yes,
them.
the Evian mist commercial. We all used to spray our faces with Evian back in the day, in the
Yeah,
80s.
I did, yeah.
I fell for that one too. Did nothing.
Made you feel good though, the Evian
Yeah,
spray.
refreshing,
Uh,
actually. Yeah.
this one's different.
So,
This one's different.
okay, so what is this? What have I just sprayed around my eyes? And I said, I do trust you.
So dry eye is such a big thing, you know. I could talk for an hour about it, but you know, I'll be brief. I think you can go on the website and look at, you know, all the blogs and stuff. I
It's
think
just
if you're
called
a
eye
lady,
spray, but by the way, for those of you who are asking, it's the MTHK. Rachel, I know you popped a link on Instagram. What's your website, just for people who want to go and have a look quite quickly?
I think it's MTH. I'm terrible. I'm not the front
I've
man
got
for
it
these
here.
things.
I think I'll have it. Just for those who want to.
MTHK.com, and MTHK stands for Making Technology Humankind, because really we come from, you know, humankind, you know, play on words, the kind of thing, but making technology humankind, I know it doesn't say anything about eyes, but really technology is the mainstay of our lives. I mean, we're talking on my phone. It's not even the best.
Same. Other side of the world.
Yeah, and just the way we work these days, and how we rest, and how we focus, and how we're tired, and how the eyes dry out, you feel the burning. The spray is great because if you put drops in, you know, it will smudge your mascara. It's hard to get in. You forget. I love the spray. I spray my kids with it actually. Like, close your
Spray
eyes.
your kids with it. Wow.
They're
I
like,
mean,
my
how
eyes
often
are.
can you use this?
Oh, as much as you want. I would say several times a day when you take breaks from your computer. Everyone should be taking breaks from their computer. You need to have a standing desk. You know, I don't have a standing desk, but I'm moving in a month. My next desk is standing.
I have one
Always
in London.
sit at the edge of your chair, stand up, move around.
You reminded me.
But you know, the other thing is look in the distance, whatever distance you have in
Right.
London. Hopefully you do have
Yeah.
some, and look at things that are green and moisturize your eyes. It's we blink less in the city than people who live, you know, in happy countryside, or are
Really?
just generally have a better mental well-being. So if you're stressed, or if you live in the city, or if you work on wide screens, and I have like many screens around me now, you just blink less. If you're a highly strung individual, you also blink less. So I never blink. And it's one of those things.
And we need to blink. We need to blink. I'm
Yeah.
consciously kind of aware of blinking more. People are asking, what is this spray doing? What are the magic ingredients in here?
So, you know, water is water, but tears are not water. I think there's a real misunderstanding of what forms the lubrication in our eyes. And not forgetting eyelids, you know, the beautiful
Eyelids.
things that we put mascara on. They're like the windscreen wiper of the car. So it spreads the water around the eyes. But it's not just water. So tears are, I love tears. So tears are three things. You have a layer of mucus that holds the water, and then you have a layer of fat that prevents evaporation. And any disruption of that balance really just messes everything up. So the spray has liposomes, which is like a good fat.
Is it?
That actually is quite good for moisturizing around the eyes as well. That's what's in your eye cream.
Nice. Liposome's great for your eyes. Yeah, under eyes.
Besides hyaluronic acid, I love to talk about hyaluronic. Again, I can talk about hyaluronic acid for an hour, and the roosters.
Come back and talk about that. I love hyaluronic acid.
I knew the guy whose family first created hyaluronic acid for the cosmetic industry. He was my patient because it comes from rooster crowns. And so, yeah, anyway. Okay,
although
liposomes.
I think they can synthesize it now, can't they, from a plant
They
source?
do, but for many years they were breeding roosters for their crowns and making them bigger and bigger. And I asked him, I said, how do your roosters not kill each other? Because I have chickens in my backyard in London.
Yeah.
My neighbors love me. And He says we put them 3 in a cage and they don't kill each other. If you put 2 in a cage, one will be dead by the morning.
But 3 together, isn't that interesting? I didn't know that. Any chicken breeders out there with their roosters?
Sorry. But liposomes, we
No,
should
but
go back to
we didn't
liposomes.
have
I'm terrible
roosters.
at digressing.
So this
Oh,
has
yeah?
also got vitamin A and vitamin E and provitamin B5, B6, B5, in this liposomal mix with some purified water. So it's quite simple, but quite powerful then for just moisturizing the eyes. If you've got dry eyes and maybe you're thinking about using eye drops, is that a good thing or not?
Definitely, especially if you wear contact lenses and things like that, because it goes well with it. If you wear eye
Mm-hmm.
makeup, if you work in the office and you just want something quick that you can go and it moisturizes
Yeah.
around the eye as well. You don't want to be putting eye drops and you're worrying about your mascara smudging.
That's great. I can just spray it over the top. It hasn't smudged my makeup at all. Nothing's
No,
happened.
and
Except
you
my eyes are
blink
refreshed.
when you blink, it goes in the eye. It draws it in by capillary
Does it?
effect, so it pulls it in. People think you have to drop it in the eye, but it just needs to be near the lids, and it pulls it in. So a spray is amazing.
That's really, really clever. Now, what's your view on estrogen in terms of eye health? Because I know many women who've had issues with dry eyes, and it's really helped with having replacement estrogen.
It's a very controversial space, HRT and any type of HRT in dry eyes. In that isolation, I think what people forget to talk about is androgens. So androgens
Mm,
really is a really sophisticated way of saying testosterone.
yeah.
Nobody wants to say that, and nobody wants to say, "Oh, why does Granny have a beard?" Um, but it's the balance of estrogen and androgens that make a difference. Androgens are known to be anti-inflammatory, and surprisingly and ironically and illogically, estrogens are pro-inflammatory. So nobody knows why when you have menopause and you have low estrogen that your eyes become dry. And the theory out there that's mostly accepted is the balance of the hormones, because when you lose your estrogen, you also lose the androgen bit of things. And
Yeah, you
it's
do. Yeah.
the balance of all the hormones that make a difference. And again, I come back to that individuality thing. I think it's very well accepted that menopause does cause um, funny things, within all mucosal surfaces of the human body, and the eye is one of them. So
Right.
lubricating the eye at this time, taking good vitamins, having good diet, keeping well, exercising,
Yeah.
is will affect the eyes. So you can do everything to help. So if eyes are a big thing for you, then taking a multivitamin and using sprays is a no-brainer.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And should we all presumably be protecting our eyes in the summer? Hopefully, it's going to start getting a little bit sunnier. Are sunglasses an absolute must? Is there a particular type that we should look out for if we're buying sunglasses?
It has to have UV protection, especially in near the equator and in some summer months in the UK. You don't have to be the sunglasses lady, you don't have to wear it indoors. You don't have to wear it when it's
Good.
cloudy. Don't be silly. The screen doesn't produce enough UV to harm the eye. So
Right.
I think just in bright sunshine. So you don't have to wear, weird tinted glasses in the house. If you find glare from the screen is affecting you and it relaxes and it protects the eye strain side of things, yes. But in terms of macular health and back of the eye health, it's just when you're outdoors.
Fantastic. I could talk to you all day, and my audience is absolutely loving everything that you have to say. I do hope that we can connect and chat some more again. I'd love to talk some more about hyaluronic acid and more about this berry. I am definitely going to go and be looking up the Maqui, Maqui, Maqui berry from Chile. Let me know when you go on your research trip if you need a bag carrier. And also the lutein and the zeaxanthin fascinating for eye health. This is something I
Liz,
think that we all need.
you are awesome. I've watched a couple of your videos, prior to speaking to you, and I just find you so interesting. I challenge you, take the vitamin every day for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Try your reading without glasses, and then try it after and see. But sometimes I think maybe it's just me. We tried our best, and I felt better. But try it and see how you
I
go.
will.
Yeah.
I will. I absolutely will. I've got 2 packs here. That my daughter actually brought out in her suitcase because I knew that we'd be talking. And I have 2 little bottles of the spray, which I'm loving because actually, I am on the equator here, literally right on the equator. My house, my garden is literally where the equator runs through. And it's very dry and very dusty. And I really feel that my eyes suffer. And I do a lot of screen work. Everything I'm reading, writing, talking to screens, Instagram scrolling, all of that. So this is made for me, and so many of us, midlife women particularly. So thank you, and thank you very much for the discount. We really appreciate that. So that's mthk.com. Remind us again what MTHK stands for.
It's making technology humankind, and the founders are 2 ophthalmologists. You should meet Alex Ionides. He is the quintessential English London gent. Hilarious. And a Swiss professor who's a scientist. And of course, Amma, who is an entrepreneur, but just such a visionary. So what a great team.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing team. Thank you. And what we love doing here is finding new things that are interesting, helpful, but above all evidence-based and fully backed by the research and the scientists. We're not into fads, we're not into trends, phases, stuff that doesn't work, stuff that's rubbish. So thank you very much, and thank you for taking time out today. I probably better get back to either the chicken nuggets for the kids, or probably some more important cataract surgery, which is far more life-changing.
No, I'm going to think a little bit more about chickens and talk to you about roosters and hyaluronic acid soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I shall so look forward to that. Dawn, it's been an absolute dream. Thank you.
Pleasure. Take care.
Big hearts to you. Thank you. She's done that. You're going to have to click off me, because if I click off you, I lose everybody.
I will. See you then.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So fascinating. I have to say, I love my job. How cool is that? How cool is she? And the amazing scientists that work behind the scenes that come from UCL and Moorfields and beyond. Brilliant. We just take our eyes for granted, don't we? The most I ever think about it is, oh, where did I put my glasses? Because I can't, see this. And actually protecting, and I thought that was really interesting, that you need to do something about it, particularly in terms of diabetes, before it's too late, because you can't fix it. So that was yet another reason to ditch the sugar. I know I go on about it all the time. Yawn. There she goes. Low carb, cut the sugars. Another reason from Professor Sim as to why that should be the case. So the website, I'm just being asked here, mthk.com. Okay, Liz Loves gets you 10% if you want to try. I'm going to try it, okay? She's challenged me. I'm going to do this. 2 of these a day. Got my spray. I shall report back in a couple of weeks' time and see if my reading and eye strain is better and my eyes feel healthier. Now, Dawn was talking a little bit about mascara. I did have